What?
I mean, I don't want to.
But we made love.
No, we slept together.
In God's eyes, you're already mine. And my son.
I cannot believe you talked me into this.
Pure, clean, fresh air.
Look, the fire was miles away. I thought we had more time. Come here, good boy. I'll be back.
Woo! Was Shortland Street on fire in December or what? That lame joke aside, because Shortland Street was literally on fire. We'll get to the whole fire story here in a while. But yeah, I thought Shortland Street was great in December. It was just 2.5 weeks of nothing but good drama and entertainment. I couldn't have asked for much more than that. And that's why Shortland Street is at number 1 in my soap opera rankings for December. The best soap opera in the world for December 2022. It, of course, went to Christmas break in the middle of December. I believe it will return sometime in January. So Shortland Street will have a small chance to hang on to its first place in January. I don't know how much we'll actually see of Shortland Street because I don't know the return date yet. But yeah, it went to Christmas break hot, to say the least. We're going to talk about the Madonna story first, with Mark being the fraud that was trying to swindle her out of money, and then acted like he was being kidnapped, right? When he was being caught in the act of being a fraud, he acted like he was being kidnapped, and Madonna fell for that again until Madonna saw him out in public and ran him down, which was very dramatic and kind of out of ordinary for Madonna. Madonna's always had a bit of a short fuse. But I mean, Madonna, I said this last month and I'll say it again, Madonna's become such an annoying character to me. Like, I liked her for all of her shortcomings and all of her flaws just last year in 2021. But as 2022 went on and on, Madonna just became more and more annoying to me. And to see Madonna still feel sorry for Mark after all of this, I mean, it's bad enough that she got to the point where she ran him down. He survived, just had some broken bones. But yeah, that was a lot from Madonna, and I still find her annoying. But I did find that story entertaining, at least. The cliffhanger when she ran him down was pretty good. That was a good cliffhanger, to say the least. Of course, one of the other big stories altogether for Shortland Street has been the Bright Shine Church, especially after Scott killed Wilder last month in November. Mauve has still been going through grieving Wilder, not helping that she is a suspect in his death. Detectives and others thinking maybe she was giving Wilder drugs, which was kind of absurd. Dawn has suspected Cassie's mom, Justine. Cassie was the girl who is the daughter of one of the mothers at Bright Shine. She suspects that maybe it was Justine that killed Wilder. Maybe gave him the drugs, helped him drown. Of course, it was Scott this whole time. Scott's been having this relationship with Dawn, even going as far as to sin for Dawn as they had sex. It was very awkward sex. He kept his clothes on the whole time, which kind of made Dawn feel weirded out. And while all this is happening, Rebecca of Bright Shine becomes a part of the hospital board at Shortland Street. So Bright Shine kind of gaining more influence and power over Shortland Street because they've been going through budget problems all year long. And then a forest fire is starting its forest fire season in New Zealand. And the hospital was struggling to have enough people on staff to take care of burns in that fire from firefighters and stuff. So Rebecca made a bid and became a part of the board for Shortland Street. We'll get back, I guess, to the Maeve and Scott's side of things, because Waverly returned, a very classic character in Shortland Street, which I've seen a lot of episodes of Shortland Street from the 2000s when Waverly was still around at times. We get to see Waverly and her family out camping, and it turns out Waverly is the person that starts this big forest fire, and this is happening at the same time that Esther and Marty decide to go camping as well, and Esther and Marty and Esther's baby end up really close to the forest fire, in danger. I just want to say I feel like there was a story similar to this once upon a time, but not really. I feel like this is really the first time I remember seeing a forest fire story on a soap opera. It could have happened on one of the Australian soap operas once upon a time. I have a vague memory, but I could be remembering something different. But it was not as big as this. This was a very big storyline. This was like a big event to close the year for Shortland Street, with the forest fire breaking out in the first place. Esther and Marty almost caught in it. Their lives are in danger. They do escape, but Esther's in bad shape. But then the fire starts getting closer and closer to Shortland Street. Harper's children are freaking out, and then Harper, who has been a very annoying character all year. Harper's been breaking down all year, where she finally gets to this point at the end here where she leaves town in a motorcycle while the forest fire is going on, leaving her kid and her husband behind. That was kind of the most annoying thing for me in the month of December. But then, of course, Shortland Street has to evacuate because the fire is getting so close. And this is happening where Scott is having a breakdown because he proposed to Dawn and she's not accepting his proposal. And this is happening after Scott sinned for her and slept with her with his clothes on. In a fit of rage, Scott attacks Logan, and Logan's in bad shape. And when Logan comes to, he says it was Scott that attacked him, which gives Maeve the idea that, hey, maybe this was Scott that killed Wilder. So Maeve has that realization, and Maeve attacks Scott. Honestly, beats him up pretty well. Leaves the scene of the crime. Rebecca finds Scott, Rebecca being one of the heads of Brightshine along with Scott. And Rebecca ends up finishing the job, killing Scott because he has become more trouble than he's worth for Brightshine. Rebecca's the one that ends up killing Scott. She leaves. The fire gets to Shortland Street. Shortland Street's up in flames. They evacuated most of the people out, but some people seem to get left behind. So it was a big event to end the year for Shortland Street. And I loved every minute of Shortland Street in December. It was just a great climax, a great event, a great use of a forest fire to be your big event. I really enjoyed it. The tension was high the entire month, from Madonna running down Mark to Scott being killed to the forest fire. It was good stuff. Very good stuff from Shortland Street. I had to put it at number one. I hope it returns in time in January to really have a shot to keep its number one spot for my rankings, because I think it's in a really good it's in a great place. You know, both Shortland Street and Home and Away started 2022 where I thought they were going to have a real good shot at taking that number one spot from Coronation Street. And Shortland Street did at one point, but then Shortland Street it just wasn't as strong the first half of the year. Leading up to its big anniversary, it was surprisingly weak. But since the anniversary, the entire second half of the year for Shortland Street has just been great writing, great soap opera. The tension's been high and high. They have twists and turns. They have big events. Like, it's everything I could ask for from a soap opera. And Shortland Street is bringing it, and I love it. I hope they continue to do so. I hope they don't kind of fall apart at the beginning of the year, kind of like they did in 2022, because I think they have a lot of good stuff set up. At one point I was thinking Brightshine would climax for the Christmas break, but not quite. You know, Scott gets killed, but Rebecca's still a big part of the story. And now Briarshine has some power and influence on Shortland Street. Might have even more influence since Shortland Street's going to clearly have to rebuild. So it's going to be a rebuilding process for Shortland Street. And I have no idea where they're going to go, but they have so many possibilities of where they can go that I have nothing to do but look forward to it. So big ups to Shortland Street. I'm glad at least one soap opera ended the year really strong with great episodes for a good... Honestly, since the summer, Shortland Street's had consistently good episodes. But the last month and a half before the Christmas break, great soap opera. Couldn't ask for more.